afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is so good to be with everyone. Thank you. Are we ready to do this? We're ready to get out the vote? We're ready to win? All right. Okay. So first, let me thank Glenn. I was telling him when we were just hanging out backstage. So when my first office that I ran for was district attorney. And the carpenters were the first union to endorse me. And I've always, I mean, even before, but always, I will always and always have stood with labor. And so I'm very proud to stand with you, Glenn, with your members, with all the members of labor as we do this together. And as he pointed out, there's a huge difference between me and the other guy, which everybody here knows, which is why you are here to help us get out the vote. But I thought I would share with you. So when I was coming in, someone reminded me of a story I've shared, which is when I first ran for office as DA. So I started out at 6 points in the polls, right? So for everyone who knows, that's 6 out of 100. No one thought we could win. And I used to campaign with my ironing board. Okay, you are wondering now, what is she talking about? So I would grab my ironing board, a roll of duct tape, my posters and my flyers, and I put them all in my car, and I drive to the local grocery stores, and I'd pull out my ironing board and my duct tape and my posters and my flyers, and I'd walk to the front of the grocery store outside, and I'd stand up my ironing board, because you see, an ironing board makes a really great standing desk. And I'd use the duct tape to tape my posters on the outside of the thing, and I'd put my flyers on top of the ironing board, and I would require people to talk to me as they walked in and out of the grocery store. And I will tell you, that is how I love to campaign. I don't do it as much anymore, obviously. But what you all are signing up to do today and what you've been doing, like, let's enjoy it. And I know you do. I can feel the mood in here, because it's the best of who we are as a democracy. And I think we've kind of, right? And that's what our campaign has been about. We are a people-driven campaign. And we love the people. And we see in the face of a stranger a neighbor, right? And that's the spirit of what we are doing. And over these last, this whole era of this other guy, what it's done with all that talk that's been about trying to have us point fingers at each other and divide each other, it makes people feel alone. It makes them feel like there's nobody standing with them. And so the way I've always been thinking about our campaign in these next 24 hours is, as we are getting out the vote, as we are canvassing, let's be intentional about building community, about building coalitions, about reminding people we all have so much more in common than what separates us. There is power in that. There is power in that. And there's lasting power in that, right? It's about the win, and it is about more. It is about more. It is about just strengthening our country and reminding each other we are all in this together. We rise and fall together. And that is the strength of who we are and everyone here. That's the strength of Bob Casey. We got to get him back in the United States Senate. That's the strength of Mayor Cognetti and all that she has been doing, right? It's about leadership that is the kind of leadership that we want, right? They are leaders. We are leaders who understand that the measure of our strength is not based on who we beat down. It's based on who we lift up, right? And so that's what we're going to do. And so over these next 24 hours, I know everyone is here, including our youngest leaders. I see you over there. I know you're not ready to vote because you look like you're about 8. But you tell the adults in your life why it's important. They vote, okay? But over these next 24 hours, let's enjoy this moment to knock on a neighbor's door and in their face, even if we've not met them, know that we have a lot that we care about in common, and that we are optimistic about the future of our country, that we love our country, and that that's what this fight is about, and about the promise of America, and the promise of America being represented by everybody who's here. So I thank you all for the time that you have taken out of your busy lives. There are a number of things that each one of you could be doing right now. But you're here, and we're all here together under this one roof as a community of people who care and who are dedicated to the hard work that it requires. You know, I like to say that, you know, when you love something, you fight for it. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we're doing. We love our country, and we are fighting for the best of who we are. And I love it. Thank you. I love you. So, thank you. Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win. All right, let's get to work. 24 hours to go, and I'm so grateful for everyone here. I'll end with this point. You know, I have the privilege, I have the blessing of being able to travel around our country. And I'm telling you guys, we're good. We're good. We're good. We really are. I mean, I go into rooms with people who, again, seemingly have nothing in common and have everything in common. Rooms of people of all kinds of different backgrounds, of ages, coming together in this sense of just the collective. We're good. And so we're going to keep doing this work with the optimism that it requires to be strong. Everyone here knows, in the context of your family, in your life, when you believe something is possible, you put in the hard work, and you know it's good work. Hard work is good work. It's joyful work, and we get the job done. Let's get this done. Thank you all.
It is fair to say this race is so close that at this point, nobody knows what's going to happen. We do know what's going to happen right now, though. We're going to talk to our Matt Gutman, who's in Reading, Pennsylvania, where there are going to be dual rallies taking place there. Our Alex Brochet is here in our nation's capital. Let's go ahead and start with you, Matt. I mean, they are going... I mean, there's no stopping either candidate now. So let's go to you. Let's talk about Harris. You've been following her. You've been on the campaign trail with her. We'll talk about Josh Shapiro in just a minute. But first of all, it looks like we're just going to see a big rally cap at the rallies from this point until tomorrow, Matt.
Both candidates here are barnstorming through Pennsylvania. Obviously, the Keystone State, the cornerstone for both of these candidates. 19 delegates at stake. Neither of them really can win this election without Pennsylvania, although it's technically possible. I just want to give you a quick lay of the land. We're actually at a Trump rally in Reading. Security here is some of the most intense that I have seen. The cordon goes all the way down about 400 yards in that direction. You can see fire trucks and cop cars. And I'm going to have our cameraman, Paul, bring us up here so you can see the snipers on the rooftops up there, mounted horses. There are canine units everywhere. It is very intense. The former president about to go on here at the arena. He has stopped also in Pittsburgh, and Vice President Harris has made stops in Pittsburgh and Allentown, and finishing up tonight with this massive concert, really like a massive pep rally filled with celebrities in Philly. She needs to get out the vote, especially in Philadelphia. That's where they need to rack up the score and try to leach as many votes as they can from rural areas where the former president has been very strong, and he's trying the opposite as well. Both candidates are hoping that the enthusiasm can win the day. For Vice President Harris, it's about the ground game, and for former president, it's all about enthusiasm, making sure that people come out and that they have all these people getting to the polls as early as possible tomorrow, Kira.
And Alex, before we head over to you, I do want to ask you, Matt, because I saw it there on the feed that you were able to catch up with Josh Shapiro, who had hoped to be on that ticket with VP Kamala Harris on the race to the White House. What did he tell you?
Also barnstorming his own state, lending what support he can. And what I wanted to ask him about was the votes and the results tomorrow night. Last time in 2020, Pennsylvania, partly because they were deluged by mail-in ballots and partly because of the pandemic, it took them almost 5 days to tally the final results. And in that delta between the election and the final results, all of these rumors and allegations of fraud festered, and that also engendered a lot of litigation against the state that there was some sort of fraudulent activity. He's trying to assure everyone that the election will go smoothly. He hopes that most of the count will be done probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, more likely. But what he does promise is that no precinct, no county in this state is going to start counting and not finish until they are completely done. They're going round the clock as long as it takes to tally all of the votes. That is his promise, and that's what all of the counties here say that they are obligated to do. So they hope to get it done in a much more timely fashion than last time. And they understand that it's a race against the clock to get those counts and those votes in and tallied before that tsunami of expected litigation from the Republicans, Kira.
All right. So, Alex, as you are watching both of the candidates here, where they're deciding to rally and show up today into tomorrow, your thoughts on what that says about the candidates and maybe what they're concerned about in the witching hour here?
Well, Kira, there's this old adage that in the waning days of an election cycle, show me where you're campaigning and I'll show you what you're worried about. And so obviously we know just how important the state of Pennsylvania is to the electoral mouth for both of these campaigns, right? So you see the vice president spending the entire day there crisscrossing, hitting different states. I mean, she took out an entire ad asking the town of Pittsburgh for their vote. She's going to wrap up today in Philadelphia. But you look at former President Trump, and he spent part of today in North Carolina. And, you know, part of that is because, I mean, this was a state that he had in his back pocket for a while, but you're looking at the down ballot stuff there. They have a gubernatorial candidate who is riled in controversy right now. And so there's some wiggle room where Democrats are looking at that possibly being a place that's up for grabs this cycle. And it's really going to impact the electoral math if Democrats are actually able to swing that. But also, as Matt mentioned, the former president returning to Pennsylvania, it is very, very critical. So goes Pennsylvania. Really, it could so go the race this cycle.
All right, a lot to follow. Alex, Matt, thanks guys so much. We'll check in with you throughout the day, of course.